Have you ever felt it? That bitter taste of having the answer, the solution, the perfect insight, but it dies in your throat. Worse, you see someone else with half of your knowledge receive all the credit simply because they were faster, louder, or maybe you are on the other end of the spectrum. You share what you know, try to help, offer every detail, and in return, you get blank stares, impatience, and an awkward silence. Instead of respect, you feel like you've become background noise, an inconvenient know-it-all. This is the brutal trap that most intelligent men face. You have the knowledge, but you don't have the method. And without the method, your knowledge does not generate respect. It generates invisibility or irritation. This video is not about accumulating more information. It is about the strategy of transmitting that knowledge in a way that generates status, control, and instant authority. We are going to decode the psychology behind respect and transform the way you are perceived in any room you enter, because what you know matters, but how you demonstrate that you know defines your entire social power. Chapter 1. The Expert's Paradox. Why trying to help too much destroys your credibility. The first and most painful mistake that costs you your authority is this: the eagerness to be validated. You believe logically that if you deliver more value, more data, more help, you will receive more respect. But the dynamics of power work in reverse. Think of power as an object of desire. No one values what is offered for free and in excess. Authority does not pursue, it is sought. This is the principle of preeminence. The anxious expert, the one who offers unsolicited knowledge, who overwhelms others with facts and corrections, is not communicating, "I am useful." He is subcommunicating, "Please validate me. Please acknowledge that I know something." It is an act born of insecurity, and therefore can only generate distrust and low status. The tactical solution is to stop offering answers and start diagnosing intent. Before you open your mouth to share your expertise, you need to become a master at identifying a crucial signal. Is the other person genuinely seeking an answer, or are they just thinking out loud? See the difference. Thinking out loud sounds like, I don't know if this marketing strategy will work. Maybe we should use another platform. This is an internal monologue. Interrupting this to give a lecture is being socially deaf. A genuine search sounds like, "John, I'm stuck on this. What is your view on this marketing strategy?" The focus shifts to you. They are not thinking. They are asking. Your task is to train your perception for this subtle difference. Observe their body language. Do they make eye contact with you? Is the question direct, addressed, or are they looking at the ceiling, at nothing, just processing? When you master this distinction, you operate like a surgeon. You do not enter the operating room to show off your knowledge of scalpels. You wait to be called to solve a specific problem. It is this restraint, this economy of words, that builds the perception of power. You stop being the guy who needs to prove he knows and become the authority everyone waits to hear from. Chapter 2. The Oracle Frame. The technique of answering questions with other questions to maintain control. In any interaction, whoever asks, leads. Whoever answers, obeys. This is the default power. Structure. And that is why answering every question immediately is a session of control. You become a resource, a tool in someone else's hand. Genuine authority, however, does not behave like an information provider. It behaves like an oracle, and an oracle rarely gives a direct answer. It offers a question that deepens the issue, that forces the interlocutor to reveal themselves. This is what we call the oracle frame. It is a Socratic influence technique that reverses the power dynamic. Instead of delivering the answer, which ends your usefulness at that moment, you maintain control of the conversation. Let's analyze the archetype of Harvey Specter. How many times have you seen him being pressed with a question like, "What are we going to do now, Harvey?" A common response would be to list an action plan, delivering all the value at once. But what does he do? He returns the pressure with a calibrated counter-question. What did they offer you? Or, what do you think your options are? This is not arrogance. It is a brilliant power tactic for two reasons. First, it forces the other party to invest more in the interaction. They have to justify their question, organize their thoughts, and expose their true intentions and fears. Second, it positions you not as a mere executor, but as a strategic guide who analyzes the situation from a higher level. Think about this in a real-life scenario. Your boss asks, "Do you believe this approach will work?" The low status response is a hurried defense. "Yes, I think so, because I did this and that." The oracle's response would be a calm pause, followed by, "That is the central question. What for you would define the success of this approach?" See the change. You did not defend yourself. You elevated the conversation. You forced your boss to define the terms, to share the responsibility, and now you are no longer in an interrogation. You are in a strategic collaboration, and you are in command of the frame. 2. Master this is to stop playing chess by reacting to the opponent's pieces, and to start being the player who defines the board. You are not evasive. You are economical. You force depth, and by doing so, you become invaluable, because you offer not only what you know, but a new way of thinking. Chapter 3. The Science of Perception. How the halo effect transforms one skill into generalized authority. The human brain is programmed for efficiency. It does not have time to do a complete analysis of all your qualities. Instead, it takes a shortcut. This shortcut is known in psychology as the halo effect. It works like this. If you demonstrate calm and economical mastery in one visible area, the brains of those around you automatically fill in the blanks and attribute competence to you in other areas. A single demonstration of controlled excellence creates an aura, a halo of generalized authority. The mistake many make is trying to fight this. They try to prove their worth on all fronts, talking about multiple subjects, desperate to show the breadth of their knowledge. The result is the opposite of what is desired. They seem scattered, anxious, and ultimately, untrustworthy. Now consider the archetype of Keanu Reeves. He is a master of the economy of motion and words. In interviews, he does not rush to fill the silence. He pauses. His answers are often short but precise. His movements are contained. He does not project nervous energy. He projects a solid, anchored presence. This demonstration of control over his own time and space creates a powerful halo effect. Because he demonstrates mastery over his own communication, we, as observers, assume that he possesses a corresponding internal depth and wisdom. It is not what he says, but how he says it, and how he uses silence, that builds his perceived authority. The tactical application of this in your life is not to become an expert in everything. It is the opposite. It is to focus on the mastery of your delivery when you talk about what you dominate. When you are going to share your knowledge, focus on two things: the precision of your words and the calmness of your body language. Speak more slowly than your initial impulse. Use silence as a sign that you are in command of the interaction, not as a failure in communication. Anchor your body. Reduce unnecessary and nervous gestures. When you talk about your field of expertise with this calmness and precision, people do not just hear the information. They witness a demonstration of mastery. And that feeling, that perception that they are in the presence of someone in control, spreads. They will start to treat you with more respect, even when you are silent, because the halo of your competence has already been established. You no longer need to prove anything. Your presence will do it for you. Chapter 4. The silent mistake that labels you as insecure. The trap of the apologetic tone. Your authority can be destroyed even before you present your main idea. The sabotage is silent, almost invisible, and comes from within. It lives in the words you use to ask for permission to speak, to apologize for your own perspective. It is the trap of the apologetic tone. It is a language that leaks insecurity. It manifests in phrases like, "I could be wrong, but," or "This might be obvious, but," or the classic, "This might be a silly idea, but." You use these qualifiers believing you are being humble or protecting the feelings of others. But what the listener's brain, specifically its most primitive part, the reptilian brain, interprets is not humility. It is a sign of low status. It is a sub-communication that says, "I do not have full conviction in what I am about to say, so please do not attack me." Analyze the communication of figures like Jordan Peterson. When he presents a psychological analysis, he does not say, "I think maybe the human mind works like this." He presents the information with an assertive neutrality. He says, "This is what the individual does under these conditions." The confidence is not in him as a person. It is in the validity of the information he is conveying. He presents it as an objective fact, stripped of his personal need for validation. This is the fundamental difference. Presenting information as objective facts, without the need for validation or apologies. When you say, "I could be wrong, but we need to increase the marketing budget," the focus becomes your uncertainty. When you say, "Increasing the marketing budget will allow us to reach audience X," the focus becomes the merit of the idea. The change is subtle in form, but monumental in impact. You stop putting yourself on trial and put the information up for discussion. This requires others to deal with your argument, not with your confidence. This does not mean being inflexible or arrogant. It means that the standard for your communication should be that of conviction. You reserve uncertainty and apologies for moments when they are genuinely necessary, and you do not use them as a default shield for every contribution you make. By making this single change, you remove the low-status subcommunication and force others to take you seriously, because it becomes clear that you take yourself seriously. Chapter 5. Applied Mental Model. The internal locus of control. When challenged publicly, the moment that defines everything arrives. You have presented your knowledge with calm and precision, but now comes the trial by fire. Someone challenges you publicly. They try to undermine your credibility, question your data, expose a flaw in your argument. In that instant, your body is flooded with adrenaline. The primitive instinct screams for you to defend yourself, to attack back, to prove you are right at all costs. And it is at this exact point that 99% of people surrender their status. Because the real game here is not about who is right. It is about who maintains control. To navigate this minefield, you need a specific mental model, the internal locus of control. This means understanding that your emotional state, your reactions, and your composure are not dictated by external events, like a challenge or an insult, but are governed by you. The person with an external locus of control feels like a victim, reacts. The person with an internal locus sees the challenge as just another variable in the environment, something to be managed, not feared. The archetype that embodies this is Tommy Shelby. He lives under constant threat, and yet his most powerful characteristic is his supernatural calmness under pressure. When an enemy insults him, he does not take the bait. He maintains eye contact. His breathing does not quicken. He demonstrates through his physiology that the other's attack has no power to shake his center. This internal control is the source of all his dominance. The strategy to apply this is not reactive. It is procedural. It consists of 3 steps that disarm the you, aggressor, and reinforce your authority. First, thank them. When challenged, your first verbal action is counterintuitive. Thank you for bringing this issue to light. This is a very high-status move. Their aggression is met with calmness. They expected to destabilize you, but you did not even move. Second, validate the intention. You do not validate the attack, but the supposed positive intention behind it. I see that the integrity of this project is as important to you as it is to me. You align them with a common goal, making their aggression illogical and isolated. You disarm them by refusing to be an enemy. Third, reaffirm calmly. Only after you have controlled the frame and disarmed the hostility do you reaffirm your position, without emotion, without haste. The reason these data are presented this way is to ensure the clarity of the final result. Your calmness at this moment, in contrast to their initial aggression, seals your victory in the status dynamic. The opponent is not defeated by your argument. They are defeated by your composure. They tried to pull you into the mud and failed. You demonstrated that your internal balance is unshakable, and there is no more potent demonstration of power than that. The transformation from expert to authority. Throughout this video, we have not just analyzed tactics, we have assembled a system. You saw that an excess of help destroys your credibility, and that true authority is sought, not offered. You learned to control the frame of any conversation with the power of a counter-question, transforming yourself from an answer provider into a strategic guide. You decoded the halo effect, understanding that calmness and precision in your delivery create an aura of generalized competence. and you learn to eradicate the apologetic tone that sabotages your conviction, replacing it with an assertive neutrality that commands respect. Finally, you receive the mental model of the internal locus of control, the key to remaining unshakable when your authority is tested. Many may look at these tools and fear seeming false or manipulative. This is the conflict that paralyzes the intelligent man. But you must understand the truth. These techniques are not a mask to hide who you are. They are the instrument to remove the static of anxiety and insecurity that prevents you from showing your true competence. They are armor to protect and strengthen an interior that is, understandably, vulnerable. The ultimate goal is not just about what to do in a conversation. It is about who you need to become to command the respect your knowledge deserves. It is about an internal transformation, from being an expert who has the information to an authority whose presence, words, and even silence shape the reality of the room. Every day you spend operating in the old paradigm, being interrupted, ignored, feeling the frustration of not being taken seriously, is a day of lost potential. The cost of inaction in your career and in your personal life is too high. The change begins with a decision. I want you to commit to this change now. Leave a comment below answering this question. Which of these 5 keys to power resonated most deeply with you, and will you start applying today? By writing it down, you turn intention into a commitment. If this strategic analysis brought value to you, like the video and subscribe for more content focused on decoding the dynamics of power and social status. The journey to becoming unshakable has just begun.